My name is Bernadine Silvers, and it's an honor to have been asked. Can you all hear me? It's an honor to have been asked to represent Siscon. I am a 40-year resident of this community, and I am pleased to welcome you and the construction of these new townhouses on the board here to our neighborhood. This home ownership opportunity support many aspects of our strategic plan, the Siscon strategic plan. We are an NRZ, and all NRZs in the city of Hartford have strategic plans. So this one truly supports ours in the area of our desire to develop a pattern for this area. And this is the Good Shepherd area of our plan. We have 3 areas. This happens to be the Good Shepherd area. And we've been concentrating on residential development, particularly medium density residential development. So we're very happy about this. When I look at Lynn Ferrari, the president of Siscon, we met about 27 years ago trying to do something about Capewell. There was a crazy plan for it, and we came together as a neighborhood to respond to that plan. And we're so very grateful at this point that something is starting here, and that what's starting is something that we really want to see happen. And as you look around our neighborhood, you'll see that it is coming together. One of the things that we wanted in our community is to have increased home ownership. That's what this property will do. We also wanted to develop underutilized land parcels to medium density residential housing. This is what's going to happen here. And we wanted to provide appropriate construction techniques and features which complement the existing and historic housing stock in the area. That will also happen, as you see there. We are glad to see the city working with a local qualified neighborhood development corporation to initiate the Willis-Papalusco portion of this site, as well as our good neighbors, Boxer Corporation, who is going to seriously address the Capewell factory building. We are pleased that CIL is the chosen developer for this property. CIL has a vested interest in the neighborhood. As a whole, they have a proven track record for developing historical sensitive sites. They sat at the Siscon table and listened to our hopes and to our desires, as well as heard and responded to our aesthetic values for the development. We thank Mayor Sagara, COO David Panagore, the city's housing director, Yasha Escalero, and all city departments related to this development. And we thank you for your support, and we look forward to a historically sensitive development which will be the envy of the entire city. And while we're here, I want to acknowledge some people, and if I have missed anyone, please forgive me. Of course, our Chief Operating Officer, David Panagore, is here. And Councilman Larry Deutsch is here. Lynn Ferrari, the president of Siscon, is sitting over here. Thomas Nortis from the Hartford Preservation Alliance. Mary Ellen, and I don't want to mess your name up, please forgive me, Kololuski. I'd be better if I just said first names. I think I would be less offensive. The Capital Region Council of Governments, and Julie Fagan of the Department of Human and Urban Development, Hartford Field Office Director. Cal Vino, President and CEO of the Connecticut Housing Investment Fund. Lorraine of Boxer Properties. Danny Marita from Sheldon Oak Central. Larry Dooley from Capewell. From Colt. Is that who we are? Okay. So, with that, Mayor Sagara, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, you are very inclusive, and you have an inclusive approach to government and team building. And it's instrumental in moving the city of Hartford forward by connecting our neighborhoods through vital projects that improve the quality of life of all residents and visitors alike. Mayor Sagara is once again restoring the pride in Connecticut's capital city and Hartford's rightful place in America's history. Mayor, your tireless effort of bringing people together are really paying off. And as we move yet another stalled city project, and I mean 28 years for us in this neighborhood, project forward, we appreciate your leadership and vision. And I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Segarra. If you don't mind, let me get my program on. I'm sorry, I'm all messed up here.
Well, thank you so much, but I think the credit here really goes to all those who were asked to work together and to work together quickly. Those of you who know me know that I have a little quality that's sometimes not a good one, which is I'm a little impatient. I don't like it when something that I think could be done in a very short period of time takes forever. I think that especially in this critical times with our economy, the more projects that we can accelerate and start and develop means not only adding quality and affordable housing, but also adding needed jobs to our communities. About a year ago, as you know, we stood before a building that I affectionately refer to as Bubby, and which many of you refer to as the Butt Ugly Building, was announced to come down. And I also said at that time that I would move as quickly as possible to make sure that other projects that can be accelerated would also get immediate follow-up. So I'm very glad that we have been getting some great help and support. Actually, a lot of the efforts had been undergoing. I think that what I've tried to do is just facilitate people coming together to get things done. And Congressman Larson has been not only an incredible source of inspiration, but also someone who each and every day I acknowledge that the more we do for ourselves here in the city at the municipal level, the more partnership that is built and the quicker that things are moving. So I want to thank Congressman Larson, because your help in helping us stay connected with DC, with the agencies, and we have leadership here from HUD, which has been incredibly supportive in helping us to expedite this project. I'm excited about the partnership that we were able to build with CIL, with the neighborhood, with the federal government, with HUD. What we're talking about is improving the quality of life of our residents, but more importantly, I am on this campaign, not that campaign, but a campaign to restore our capital city to the best capital city that it can be. And in order to bring back Capewell and Coltsville, we all need to continue to support these projects, because this is where we get an opportunity to redefine or bring back to life our city and what we stand for. And I think that what we stand for, or at least what we stood for a long time, was coming together to create a better city for everyone. If we do this, we'll be able to accelerate this project and many other projects. We're going to have two-bedroom units here and 14 three-bedroom units. So these are going to be units that really accommodate the current need that we have for housing. They're going to be beautiful units, as you can see from the renderings. The first phase will include four three-story, four-unit buildings, two buildings fronting Papalusko Court, and the other two buildings fronting Willis. So, you know, it's going to be built at a cost of $3.8 million, and thanks to HUD in Washington, Barbara Fields, who's visiting us from the field office. Barbara Fields from the field office. That sounds like redundant, right? And Julie Fagan here from our local HUD office for working quickly and expeditiously to approve this project. I don't want to go on speaking too much, but I will be remiss if I did not take this time to make honorable mention of David Panagore. David Panagore was tasked early this year with making this happen and happen quickly, and I think that he's really put in a lot of effort to make this work. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the history, the legal history of what transpired. Many of you might know or might not know, but if there is a test case for getting a real complicated, tangled up web of a mess untangled and brought to a groundbreaking in short and record time, this is one of them. So I want to thank you. I want to thank our attorney, Walter Polikas, who also did a lot of work in terms of untangling that legal mess. And everyone else, there's so many of you, but I think what's really important, let's keep this in mind. Let's keep this in mind, that we will continue to accelerate the pace of Hartford progressing and moving forward if we work together, if we are objective about what we want to do. And I know it's new. I know it's, or maybe not that new, but in Hartford, I know that there's been for a long time a culture where that really leads to an environment where things just don't get done. And I'm glad that each and every day that I look at things and I work on things, that I'm realizing that a lot of those individuals that are obstructionists and just are really out there to fulfill their own psychological needs or lack of mental health that leads them to use that which is the public forum to manifest that psychopathology, that those people are shortly getting phased out and are being replaced with a lot of new, young, and old talented people that are really concerned about really making our city grow and move forward in a positive way. So I thank each and every one of you. Thank you. And back to our moderator. Hey, Senator. And I did not mention my good senator who is hiding behind me. I'm always hiding behind him. Senator Blumenthal, thank you so much for all that you're doing to help move our city forward. Thank you so much.
Mayor Segarra, I just want to say to you that this is a neighborhood, the Sheldon Charter Oak neighborhood, and the organization SysCon has always gotten things done with the help of everybody involved. So we thank you for developing a culture that will help us to continue to do so. Thank you. Well, my dear friend, Congressman Larson, representative of the 1st Congressional District, U.S. Congress. Congressman Larson is no stranger to stimulating economic development in Hartford. Among his efforts to promote investment in Hartford, Congressman Larson has successfully led the effort to designate Coatesville as a National Historic Park and encourage tourism in this neighborhood. And to encourage tourism in this neighborhood. He also played a key role in bringing $1.6 million into the neighborhood revitalization stabilization program in Hartford in 2011. His track record of accomplishments and leadership in Congress speaks to itself. The successful groundbreaking here today is possible in no small part to Congressman Larson's involvement. Congressman, we truly appreciate your effort, your support, and welcome you back to the neighborhood. As always, you're here so much, I think you live here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadine. Always great to be back in the neighborhood. And as we sit here, I'm proud to be joined by my colleague and good friend from the Senate, Dick Blumenthal. Spoke with Joe Lieberman earlier today, and I can't thank the two of them enough for their continuing efforts. And everybody says Dick is a freshman member. Well, he was a freshman in the Senate for about a nanosecond. He has done just such an extraordinary job on our behalf, and it's such a pleasure to work with him. Connecticut is a very small state. We have a very small delegation, and so that requires that we work extra harder. It also requires, and especially in these very difficult times in Washington, that we have an administration that we can deal with. I know Barbara Fields has been recognized already, and as has Julie Fagan. But without the help, and Sean Donovan has been here to Hartford on a number of occasions, and we hope to have him back We extended an invitation again to Barbara to come back as we talk about the synergistic development that's going on here in the city of Hartford. And this administration, the president, who, as Dick knows, has been hamstrung by a rather recalcitrant Congress, continues, however, to lead. With announcements this past week on housing, we as a delegation are going to continue to make rollouts and pronouncements and assistance wherever we can to help people who find themselves, through no fault of their own, with their mortgages underwater, with the need of housing. And the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development has been just outstanding. He understands this. Barbara understands this, and this is a great step forward. Bernadine and Lynn, we only have to look across the street to see what happens when people in a neighborhood and in a community have vision and persistence. We only have to look beyond that, and Larry Dooley sitting here with us, and you can see the Colt Dome, and you can see past the House of Good Shepherd to what Dick Blumenthal, Joe Lieberman, and I guarantee will be a national park. Now, we've been fortunate that we've been able to bring, and most recently we had Ken Salazar here, the Secretary of the Interior. He came back from this trip, and the Secretary of Interior came out foursquare for Coltsville being named a national park. That's a huge announcement. And if we can break through the quagmire that has tied up Congress in terms of inaction, that will happen. And we hope sooner rather than later. But it is going to happen. Make no mistake about that. And so we stand here on this historic spot, not far from where Captain Wadsworth spirited away the charter of the state of Connecticut, whose charters and really embodied our fundamental orders, the first written constitution in America, and therefore in the world. Some may claim the Magna Carta, Dick. Some may claim it was the Mayflower Compact. Others say it happened in the House of Burgess in Virginia. But only in the state of Connecticut did people gather together and say they would be governed by their own consent. It happened right here in Hartford, Connecticut, and we're in the midst of that great historic development. And now, in combination with the great works that's going on with Coltsville, and we invited Barbara back to learn more about the iQuilt project, you see a community coming together. This mayor has spent more time in Washington, D.C., lobbying on your behalf, and when he's not there, David is. Just 2 weeks ago, David was down in Washington, and we met with Ray LaHood and the Secretary of Transportation, talking about the iQuilt project and how it's one Hartford, but how community by community we're bringing this community and being a stellar example for the region, for cities and municipalities all across this country. And because of your hard work, because of your efforts, because of the efforts of Syscon, that's what attracts the Department of Urban Development. That's what attracts HUD. That's what attracts the leadership here. It's your success, your persistence, and your ability that makes that happen. Dick and Joe and I are just happy to be able to facilitate that and to be there side by side with the mayor of Hartford in this great administration. So it's an honor to be here today. This is an exciting moment. And let me turn it back to Bernadine.
Well done.
Thank you, Congressman. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing a gentleman that worked so hard for us in the state of Connecticut, and now he's working even harder as a senator, Senator Richard Blumenthal, U.S. Senator from Connecticut, U.S. Congress, and I'm going to finish saying something about you, if you don't mind. Just can't let you stand up like that. Senator Richard Blumenthal has been a tireless advocate for creating affordable, sustainable housing and new jobs throughout the state and nation. By lending his support to this development, the senator has helped to ensure the creation of 150 new job opportunities for local residents. We are honored to have such an engaged and dedicated senator with us today. Thank you for joining us. And I follow you, and you are really doing it down there.
Thank you, Bernadine. Thank you. Thank you. You know, I can't imagine anyone from whom those words mean more than you, Bernadine. You have been a real fighter for justice and housing and opportunity, and you deserve a great round of applause. Please join me. And thank you to Barbara and Julie for your partnership in this effort. Thank you to the mayor for never losing drive and hope. Even against the toughest odds, this man is always fighting for Hartford. And to John Larson, my wonderful friend and role model in the United States Congress, I want to thank as well. You know, nobody fights harder for Hartford in the United States Congress than John Larson. And nobody's more effective in fighting for Hartford. When we have a historic park here, it will be because John Larson had the vision and the courage to fight for it. And John, thank you so much for all you do. John Larson is to the fight for Hartford in Washington what the Cardinals were to the 6th game of the World Series. He never gives up. He is indefatigable, and that's not a baseball term. I want to say something about this site and about this project, because this day has enormous historic significance. You know, this place was the site of a factory built in 1903. At the time, it was state-of-the-art to make horse nails for the feet that carried a lot of Hartford citizens in their daily lives. And as state-of-the-art as it was then, it became a relic. It became obsolete. And today, we celebrate something else that's state-of-the-art, a housing project that meets the needs of Hartford citizens in a way that is truly remarkable and a model for the rest of the country. And it isn't so much the bricks and mortar that will matter. It is the hope, the dreams that will be realized, the opportunities that will be accomplished, the shelter, physical shelter that will be provided, but truly the homes for people who are working and accomplishing great things that this project will ultimately represent. And one final word. You know, the millions of dollars that come from the federal government for this project are an example of what the federal government should be doing. And if some in Washington have their way, these programs will be as much relics as that factory was. The Cranston-Gonzalez National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 will go the way of that factory. If some in Washington have their way, and I can pledge to you that I will never permit it to happen as long as I'm a member of the Senate, and I know John Larson is fighting as hard as anyone to make sure that affordable and accessible housing is there for everyone. And thank you for being here today. We need to keep up that fight, and this is the best way to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. If we look around this neighborhood, we will see what HUD has done for us since the late 1960s. I'm here as a result of HUD Housing, Sheldon Oaks Co-op, that was developed in 1970. And HUD has been a tremendous asset to our community. They have worked closely with us. Every time we do development, they are there. They're there to help us. They're there as partners. They're there as resources. And I'm personally very grateful to all of you at HUD. I'm here to introduce Miss Barbara Fields. She's a New England Regional Administrator, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Barbara Fields, I got to do a little something before you get up. Barbara Fields was appointed in February 2011 as HUD's new Region 1 Regional Administrator. Ms. Fields joined HUD after serving as the Executive Director of Rhode Island Office of Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC. She brings to HUD a wealth of knowledge about affordable housing and a comprehensive approach to community revitalization, one that will serve HUD tremendously well as we work collaboratively to carry out projects such as the Capewell Townhomes development. We are pleased to have you join us today. And I know she told me that she's worked in Hartford before, and she's very familiar with several things here, so I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
Glad.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bernadine, for that very generous introduction. And good afternoon. What I want to say is congratulations to the community. This is your day. This is absolutely about the hard work that you've all done. Led in part by Bernadine, because HUD doesn't do anything for you that we don't do in partnership with you. And this is what you see around you today. I really do want to congratulate all of those involved, starting with the mayor. I live in Rhode Island, I work in Boston, but I met your mayor in my hometown, and I think he sent David out to meet me in Holyoke, crossing state borders to do whatever they need to do to bring it right here to Hartford. So I am glad to be here today with both of you celebrating this and really your terrific leadership and relentless persistence in making sure that we put this at the top of our list of things to get done. So thank you, Mayor, and to David as well. That day was a rainy day, so I waited for the sun to come out here in Hartford. I get to travel all around New England, and I get to work with 9 other regional administrators. But one of the pleasures of this work is that in New England, we have, if not the best, one of the best congressional delegations in the country. And I'm pleased to share the podium today with 2 of the best here in New England. So I really wanted to thank Congressman Larson and U.S. Senator Blumenthal, who I'm meeting for the first time today, for their incredible leadership down in Washington, and to thank all of you, because you're the ones who send them there. And without your support for them, they are not there to be the voices that are fighting every week for housing and jobs and communities. And that is what we're delivering here today. We can't deliver that without their support. So thanks to both of you for doing that hard work in a very difficult time. And as I mentioned to the congressman and to the senator, I sent my mayor down to Washington as a congressman, and it's a tough time, but I know he's got a lot of support from the 2 of you in trying to get that work done. I want to recognize the HUD team, and Julie's over there with the group with Gary and Beth and Kevin and John. I think they're familiar to most of you, but I'll take the credit today, but they're getting the work done. So please, a round of applause for my local team. This is really a terrific day because there's a gentleman up on that roof up there. I think we can all hear him banging away. And what's really is exciting is that before Thanksgiving, I think the mayor told me, there will be Hartford residents and Connecticut residents working on this site. So housing means jobs, and jobs means money going home to families so they can celebrate the holidays and they can contribute to this community. So I'm really excited that our funding today, our home dollars, which came from that Cranston-Gonzalez Act, so thank you for protecting that, are going to come here and deliver every single day for people who will build this housing, and that I will be invited back, I hope, I think I might be, when we cut the ribbon, and I'll come in between to see the other developments, because families will move in here. Home is a place to celebrate holidays, birthdays, other milestones, for children to do their homework, contribute to the community. And as Bernadine said, we can see the Hope 6 across the street. owners across the street the other way. This is a community, and we're grateful that we can come today and participate in doing this because, as the senator so aptly said, much of the funding in this project is under attack. We want to be here partnering with you, but it does take resources, and so supporting them in their fight down in Washington will help us all. The president has put in his program something called Project Rebuild, and that is the first time in my life that I've seen a president connect housing to jobs and to the local economy. NSP would put $15 billion into housing because housing creates jobs. This property will go back on the tax roll. Mayor, you'll have homeowners here who are paying taxes, because right now it's a drain on the city, because I am sure your police and fire have to respond to a lot more things when there's a vacant lot. So we're trying to connect those pieces. I hope to come back, see it under construction, and then come back and welcome the families who will have the opportunity to build their lives in these beautiful units. So congratulations. I'll come back on another sunny day. Thank you. And to the developers, I'm sorry, Marty, as well, for the work that you're doing and you will start doing in a very few short weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, last but not least, Marty Legall. Has been the president. Marty has been the president, CEO of the Corporation for Independent Living, better known as CIL, for the past 32 years. During that time, CIL has developed more than 600 community residents for people with disabilities, in Connecticut and Massachusetts. In Hartford, CIL has renovated more than 100 single and two-family homes for first-time home buyers. They are also instrumental in the development of Willis Lisbon. If you look right up the hill over there, you'll see Willis Lisbon, along with Danny Marita at Sheldon Oak Central. They did that many years ago, and it's a cooperative housing there. And Mortson and Putnam Heights and Belden Street projects. Want to welcome you, back to the community, Marty. And I know you're going to do a very good job. And we thank you for being a full participant of SysCon. And we thank Dave McKinley and his role in doing so. I didn't see you sitting there, Dave. But thank you very, very much. It's your turn.
Thank you, Bernadine. When Mayor Segarra said that he was impatient and he didn't like waiting for projects to happen, I've just been absolutely astounded as to how fast this project has gone. In 32 years, we've worked with virtually every government funding project for housing that you know of. It's local, state, and federal. And I have to tell you, Mayor, this is the fastest project we have ever done. This is really incredible, and I want to thank you. Literally, I got a call probably in March saying, would you guys be interested in helping us out develop this site? And as the mayor explained, Walter Polikas was dealing with an incredibly complex legal morass that he sorted out in record time, so that we actually closed and owned the project on June 30th, and we're actually starting construction next Tuesday. We're going to be starting construction here. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Walter, for your fantastic efforts. I'd just like to spend just a couple of minutes explaining a little more detail about the project. As you can see over here from the site plan, there are going to be 16 units, 8 of them facing Papalusco, 8 of them facing Willis. They're all going to be, zero lot line, single-family homes where the owners are actually going to own land and building in fee simple. So it's not a condominium, it's not a co-op, it's true single-family home ownership. There are going to be garages in the back of each of the properties. And we have some floor plans here, and the elevations have been designed to really complement the fine work that's been done by Krosky Associates over on Dutch Point. and they are our architects here also, and have been doing a fantastic job. So we really look forward to participating here and delivering a wonderful product. I believe we should have our first units ready for sale for the ribbon cutting by next June. So, thank you. So I think without further ado, Bernadine, I think we want to do the groundbreaking.
Give us the count.
1, 2, 3, go!